This isn't starting out very well.
Give me your best shot there, Jimbo.
Well, I've been the best man now. I think this is 5 times, and I haven't done it right yet. So I hope to do this better than before. I have the privilege and the honor to be here representing all of us guys that spend time with Jim and Jerry. That's Bob, Cue Ball, Jim Boobs, Dallas, Ed, Softy, Jim, Brian, and Fireball Bill Walker. And Smoothie, that's not here, but will be featured in this speech. So if you look up here at this time frame, the first time that Geraldine and Jim saw each other was something that Misty lined up. It was a baseball game. And the first time that Jim asked Geraldine out, we had a ride to Winslow. Misty put that together along with Greg. It was a ride for the Elks. That was the day that I really met Smoothie and Jim. It was the first time I rode with Jim. He was my wingman. Misty and Greg were just starting to date. Turtle was just about to be single. And Elvie got mad and left me once again, so I was single. And we all rode up to Winslow. And before we left, we were waiting for Misty. She always takes a long time to get ready. I don't know why. She's beautiful without it. And Greg came in and asked her a question, and Misty came in and asked Greg a question, and Greg provided an answer that I was floored. I didn't really know him very well, and I looked at him and says, "That was smooth. I bet you get lucky a lot." And that's how he got the nickname Smoothie. So we got up to Winslow, and that's where Jim told the famous joke about Guido and one goat, which is not a joke I can tell now. We were talking about guys that are riders and their nicknames. And of course we started at 10 o'clock in the morning and partied all day. And by midnight, Jim had decided that he was going to be single after that. He was breaking up with the girlfriend he had. And he was going to ask out Geraldine. Geraldine was there with the biggest, meanest, ugliest looking guy you ever saw. That was her date. And I was the sober wingman and trying to talk Jim into waiting until the next day or after or something. And as the night went on, Jim said, "I'm going to go ask her." And so this is how he did it. Geraldine and the big guy, and he's ugly and big and mean, are sitting like this. And Jim comes over and he glares at the big guy. He smiles at Geraldine and he glares at the big guy and he says, "Would you go out with me?" Yeah, I'll do that. That was the first time that Jim asked her out. And then he didn't do anything for several months. And Misty stepped in and made sure that Geraldine was at the table where they were giving out cards on one of our biker rides, so that Jim would remember that he liked Geraldine. And so then he really did ask her out and remember the next day. A bunch of time went on, and they got to be more serious. And Jim started using this line that all guys use, and most of us use it in a bar in the men's room. It's when you have a lady and you ask her for permission to ask her to marry you. You don't ask her to marry you, you ask her for permission to. Women love that. Jim did that 5 or 6 times. They were always real happy. And we were happy for them. And then we come up here to the summer where Jim and Geraldine stopped at Estes Park at the Continental Divide, and Jim asked Geraldine if he could marry her, and she said yes. And then a year later at the Continental Divide, I happened to be there when Jim again asked her to marry him, and this time we have a picture, because I took a picture. So I'd like to sum up by mentioning how much all of us love and respect Jim and Geraldine. We all love Geraldine, and we respect Jim. To the bride and groom. You know, there's a tradition that everybody gets lucky at a wedding.
So Geraldine and I have been friends for about 40 plus years. Long time. And I love her dearly. Mary Ann brought up a little story the other day. Okay. Mary Ann, Geraldine's mom, brought up a little story yesterday or the day before. One time, I used to have a Harley. Well, I still have a Harley. And Geraldine didn't like bikes. Not at all. Didn't like to ride. Didn't like them at all. So one time, Aunt Mary Ann was babysitting her. She was just little. And my friends and I came riding up on our Harleys to her house. Geraldine wasn't there. She was babysitting. She told Kurt, go hide under the bed. She was scared to death. Until she knew it was me. So anyways, let's see where I'm at. Jim, I don't think I've ever seen Geraldine as happy as she is now. A lot of tough times, a lot of good times, and all the times between. And I've never seen her happy.
Oh.
You're good for her. You're really, really good for her.
Yeah, baby.
I think Geraldine's dad, Dwayne, gave you his strength, his business mind, his independence. You're such an independent, strong woman.
God love her.
She's a terrific mom. And Mary Ann, her mom, gave her passion for life. She has such a good passion. And a little bit about the Harley, Jim. She didn't like Harleys at all. So she must really, really love you. Get on the back of that bike. Because she'd never get on the back of mine. So anyways, I just wanted to let you know that you challenge her. You challenge everything about her. And you get along so well. But you challenge each other. You know, I've never seen a love like yours. You know, I really haven't. You're strong. And you're good. You know, this is a new chapter in your life. And I wish you well. I love you.
Thank you. So that brings it to me that says, rolling off of what she said, always remember, this is beautiful. But marriage takes a lot of work, stubbornness, arguments, gonna happen. And your friends are here to support you to get you through the tough time, okay? But for right now, always remember one thing. You're Mr. Right. And she is Mrs. Always Right. Get this party started.
Before we get the party started, I got a few little notes I got to tell.